What is going on, guys? The Inside the Blue podcast, and today we have some New York Giants talk before the draft. As we know, the draft is tomorrow, April 24th. The Giants currently hold the number 3 pick in the draft, and of course, we know how important that is, but the big question is, for me and to tell you, is who should be the pick at pick 3? I know you guys have seen my mock drafts. It's been all over the place. Maybe we're taking Shedeur Sanders in the mock drafts. Maybe we're taking the two-way specialist Travis Hunter from Colorado. Or we're taking an edge rusher in Abdul Carter. Those have been the main 3 guys that I have taken. Maybe there was some times that Cam Ward decided to fall, but we know Cam Ward is a guaranteed number 1 pick. The Tennessee Titans, they had an interview, and a reporter did ask, are you guys interested in trading the pick? And they were like, no, we're not trading this pick whatsoever. We're going to take our franchise quarterback, move on from Will Levis. And that's the right move for the Tennessee Titans. When you have the opportunity to get your guy, get your guy. And especially with this new regime, with the new GM, the former assistant GM, I think, from the Kansas City Chiefs. But regardless, he was in the Kansas City Chiefs organization, and that is another thing that Giants fans kind of wanted, is to get a guy maybe from the Kansas City Chiefs or the Detroit Lions or just a good drafting team. But we are with Joe Schoen right now, and this is basically make or break draft for Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen. I think if they don't really have a good draft and the players don't develop well and the Giants don't really show signs of improvement, especially from a competitive standpoint, because they do have a tough schedule this year, and we know that. But getting right into it, because I honestly don't need to make this video super long for you guys, because the title is going to name it, of who I really want out of all those 3 guys I mentioned, whether it's Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, or Abdul Carter. Who is the guy that I want the Giants to take? And it is Abdul Carter. I think Abdul Carter is the most likely to be there at pick 3, which I know is crazy, because when you do have the ability, from a Cleveland Browns standpoint, to have Myles Garrett on one side and then Abdul Carter on the other side, you probably have the best 1-2, if not a top 3, top 3 1-2 punch edge rushers going to the quarterback. Definitely the scariest 1-2 punch in my opinion. I think Myles Garrett is an elite player, one of the best defensive players in the whole NFL. But the other thing is with Abdul Carter, is it has the Giants have a lot of good players at important positions. We know the rumors with Kayvon Thibodeau. Is he going to be traded at the draft? Is he going to stay? I think he is going to stay. But I will add this as well. But let me get this first point. Getting a defensive front with Dexter Lawrence as your best, with one of the best defensive linemen in the NFL. You have Bobby Okereke, Micah McFadden as your linebackers. And then you have Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns, and of course, like I mentioned, Dexter Lawrence up front with Chauncey Goldstein and some other players. It's a good unit. And of course, they added Javon Holland in the offseason. They added Paulson Adebo. So the Giants have made moves defensively, and I know they're like, but this team needs offense. They need a playmaker. This defense wins championships, and I will say it. If you look at the past good Giants teams, they had a good defense, and I think with adding Abdul Carter, really, really does a good job for this team. And then obviously the rest of your draft, you can take a running back later in the draft if you want to pair with Tyron Tracy. You could take another wide receiver if you plan on trading Jalen Hyatt during the draft. You could even there's potential that they might trade Evan Neal during the draft, and obviously Kayvon's name was listed as well. Now, the reason why Kayvon might actually get traded is if the Giants want to trade back into the first round, and that is for no other than Jackson Dart, maybe Jalen Milroe, but I think if they stay, they might actually be able to just get Jalen Milroe in the second round, which I'm not opposed to. I know a lot of players, not a lot of players, a lot of fans and maybe some coaches are a little bit skeptical of Jalen Milroe's ability against the blitz and his turnover issues. The guy can run, and it's not that hard to develop a passer. Brian Dable can do that, and it's not like we're asking Jalen Milroe to come out and play this in this upcoming season, and that's why we signed Russ. That's why we signed famous Jameis. Like, the Giants, they have options, and that's why now they don't have to force a quarterback at pick 3 because they were able to land Jameis. And then when they landed Jameis, I'm like, are they still in on Russell Wilson? I know that the Aaron Rodgers was probably not going to be a potential fit for the New York Giants, and he's not, and he's still unsigned. So there's that. So it's going to be interesting, of course. The reason why I want Abdul Carter is because I want an elite defense. I don't want this team just getting destroyed on defense, but I do know that this offense does need to be better, and that starts with Brian Dable, that starts with good quarterback play, that starts with everything. And, obviously the Giants are, like I said, have a tough schedule. And the other thing, too, with taking Abdul Carter rather than Travis Hunter is you don't really have issues with Travis Hunter with him, saying he wants to play both sides of the ball. What if there's a scenario that Brian Dable's like, hey, I only want you playing wide receiver for us, or I only want you playing with Paulson Adebo and Deonte Banks and Andrew Phillips. Like, that could cause an uproar, and even Travis Hunter openly said that I'm going to retire from football if you're not going to play me both ways. So maybe that is a reason why maybe even the Browns take Abdul Carter, but I really do think your 1, 2, 3 is going to go Cam Ward, Miami quarterback, to Tennessee. At pick 2, I have the Cleveland Browns taking Travis Hunter. And then at pick 3, I have the Giants taking Abdul Carter. And another thing, too, which also makes it easier for Joe Schoen, is it's basically, I call it a flip-flop, right, in this time. Because you're either getting Travis Hunter or you're getting Abdul Carter. Regardless, you're getting a good player, assuming they do select one of them and they don't take, some other guy, like reaching for Jackson Dart at pick 3. Now, obviously, I think Brian Dable has zeroed in on and probably has told Joe Schoen and other members of the organization that he likes Jackson Dart the most out of Shedeur Sanders, maybe, Jalen Milroe and other guys, which is good because I like Jackson Dart a lot too. And I said in another offseason Giants video that I think Jackson Dart can be a good player and he can throw the ball downfield, he can make plays, he can compete. I mean, he competed really well against Jaden Daniels when Ole Miss took on LSU. Obviously, that's college. Now we go to the NFL. We'll see how Jackson Dart is able to adapt. But the Giants do need a quarterback, and they need a young quarterback to look for the future because you won the quote unquote meaningless game against the Indianapolis Colts. And that is the reason why, Cam Ward isn't a guaranteed selection at pick 1, and now you're picking at pick 3, which is totally fine. It's not like pick 3, it's a massive, all of a sudden, drop-off. You're getting properly Abdul Carter, and I know people are like, oh, but we already have Kayvon, oh, we already have this, and oh, we already have that. Like I said, getting good players, elite players, at important positions is huge. And, when you have I guess, I don't know how to word this, but, like, if you have a bulk of good players, it's really good. And then you address depth and all. Like, I'm not saying that the Giants have to, all of a sudden build a Super Bowl Eagles-type defense, because I will say the Eagles' defense was elite, and the Eagles are taking a bit of a drawback with their defense, but they're still going to be a top unit. They're still going to be one of the best teams in football, probably at least a 12 to 13 win team. So, I mean, there is a lot to look at for the Giants, and taking Abdul Carter helps them a lot. And I know maybe there's that very small 1 to 2% Giants fans that are like, Well, he grew up an Eagles fan. Listen, you don't get to just pick and choose who you're going to get drafted. You think all these players on the New York Giants are Giants fans? No. They probably, like the Raiders growing up, maybe the Broncos, maybe the Chargers, the Chiefs, as I'm, naming the entire AFC West, AFC East or whatever it is. AFC West, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot to look forward to. I mean, the draft is something that I've been looking forward to since, I guess, the end of the year, from the Giants when they played their final game and the disasters of a season. But yeah, I mean, to round it off, Joe Schoen and Brian Dable, they are on the radar because they are a group. They are a dual package. I stand by that, and I do think that if they don't get good players in this draft and they don't see improvement, those guys are probably going to get canned, and then we're back to another GM and coaching search for John Mara, which only makes his job even harder. I know John Mara did say that, yeah, we want playoffs now, but John Mara is going to have to wait because Dallas may not be a playoff team next year, but you got to look at Washington and Philadelphia. Those are two guaranteed playoff teams, unless Washington just did a one-year wonder where they're really good, they win a game, they put up a good fight, and then they just fall off. But I don't think Washington is going to do that because they have so much money, they have some draft capital to make that team better. And, another thing, I guess, to wrap it up is don't forget to check out our mock drafts. Don't forget to check them out. And, of course, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We know that we got to get to 300 subs. I am most likely going to try to be available for the draft. I have to see what time it is, but, of course, I do want to go live for the draft and see you guys' live reaction, my live reaction. Maybe put like a YouTube short or Instagram, TikTok reel of my live reaction as well. Don't forget to follow us on TikTok and on Instagram and YouTube at the Inside the Boot Podcast. But anyways, guys, that is going to wrap it up for this Giants video on who I think is going to be at 3 and who I think the New York Football Giants are going to select with pick 3. See you guys in the next one. Peace.